Oh, that's me. I need to log out. I see. I don't know. It automatically logs me in under Green Party. I'm going to log out and log back in.
Okay,
Yeah,
Patty.
it lies sometimes. I
Yeah.
mean, you're not, it's a bug. It's like you don't really want that logo if you're meeting with
Well,
the Republicans, right?
it automatically sees me under the Green Party account, so I need to always remember to log out and log back in. So I'll be back.
Okay. Well, it's not even that simple. It's it's weird. I don't there's bugs in Zoom, and Zoom is such a big kahuna. Nobody cares about, I don't know how to explain it. You can't get help on the bugs, or at least I haven't found the community that tells you what to do.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
No,
Hi, Patty.
hi, no, no. Oh
Yeah,
well.
Thompson.
it's a bug, Patty. And I've seen it before. You you have to almost log in as yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you start a fake meeting with yourself, and then you can prove that your logo is correct and everything, and then you exit. It's a bug in Zoom. It's really irritating, but I
Yeah,
have
it
had the
is
same.
because I logged out of the Zoom account, and so it shouldn't pick that up now. But
Exactly, it's a bug,
Hi,
right?
yeah,
Barb.
Hi, who's all here?
Barb.
Hi,
Patty.
Patty. I've got a couple of memberships for you. I'll send you the forms.
Great, great. Hey, Bill.
Hello.
Here, Bill.
So Patty, can I make you a co-host, and then you can watch the waiting room too?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It looks like 10:30, so we'll give people 2 more minutes and then we should start because it's, unless somebody objects, because
Oh,
we do have a
it's
packed agenda.
sorry. Apparently, it thinks you are a co-host still. It still thinks so you should be able to let people in, but I
Yeah.
don't understand why.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're supposed to know everything, Tom.
Yeah. No, Greg found a bug this morning in one of my programs.
Ah.
No, I don't know everything.
It's an opportunity to learn. How about that?
Right.
What I tell
Morning, Bill.
myself every day.
I don't always tell myself that. Some days and I just grumble and swear.
Yeah. Truth be told, I do too.
And if all else fails, blame it on COVID.
Well, I think in general, I'm finding people are getting a little irritable just in general by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, spring is a hard time too. They say that that's when most people commit suicide, so important to
Wow.
support each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hopefully people are finding a little bit of hope right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your emails, Greg. I can't always take action, but I did, maybe it was just this morning, sent a note to the White House about
good.
line 3. So thank you for that.
Sure. Well, let's go ahead and start with the easy stuff. So does anybody mind that this is being recorded or streaming?
Nope.
Okay. Welcome everyone, and let's see. The Green Party news item is kind of important. Probably most people are aware of this, but the Green Party has accused House Speaker Nancy Pelosi of attempting to crush alternative political parties with her signature election overhaul legislation, H.R. 1. And a key provision of that bill relating to the public financing of presidential campaigns raises the threshold to qualify for federal matching funds from $5,000 each in at least 20 different states to $25,000. So Tony Negede, I'm guessing, the Green Party's national co-chairman, accused Ms. Pelosi and House Democrats on Monday of attempting to demolish opposition from outside the two-party system. And then Howie Hawkins put out an email saying, we're also in the subject line, we're also for the Green Party. I mean, we're also for the people, but without the poison pill, which actually tells more problematic things that are in that HR 1 for third parties. So did other people see that?
No, thanks for
Yeah, I saw it.
pointing it out.
Yeah, I shared that one too, but that's definitely worth checking out.
Is,
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I would say that the HR 1's got a lot of fantastic things in it, and I'm aware of the poison pill part of it, but it's got wonderful things in it. Pass.
Yeah, and Howie points out some other not so wonderful things in it for third parties. It was a list of about 5 or 6 items. Okay, so annual goals. Development activities to promote local party growth. Treasurer outreach, information technology, and membership are leading this. So I guess what we need to know on that one is a % increase in membership. That could be one of the things that lets us know that that goal has been accomplished. What do you think about that? I'll keep a stack. So % increase in membership is right here.
So Patty Stack.
Hi, Patty.
Just to say, Greg and I have got together and we're working together on making sure that we have the database updated so we have all the a comparison. Greg is working on that, a comparison of 2020 members to 2021. So I guess we just have to reconnect on that, Greg, and so you can let me know when it's good to go. And then we can see the percentage difference.
Yeah, thanks, Patty. And yeah, so we will have a baseline. We just needed to clean up a couple names on our 2020 membership database to make sure that we had a baseline to start from. So yeah, Patty helped me with that. Go ahead, Tom.
So I think we should use Nation Builder as the database, and simply we create a tag which is GMGP member, and then we have all that information in one place. We can do queries against it and so forth. At least it's a suggestion. I mean, I don't.
Okay.
But your question is, what kind of measures? I mean, yeah, it seems.
No, it's what % increase of membership. Like, you know, we want to have a goal, ideally, that is going to be achievable. So we can take a look at, you know, is this year going to be a year when people are jumping to the Green Party? Or is this going to be a year when people are, oh yeah, great, Biden's taking over for Trump and we don't have anything to worry about now. We're so glad for the Democrats. They're just wonderful. You know, so what % increase in membership is realistic? We could say 10%, we could say 25%, we could say 100%, whatever.
Well, I would prefer to go. Let's go with some real. Let's go with number. I'd rather go with like 4 people, or you know, something. So we all know what the goal. Let's try to get 4 new members. You know, I mean, we all know what that means.
Okay.
As
Any other
opposed to this
suggestions?
percent increase.
Okay, so Tom's making that as a proposal. Any other suggestions for proposals? Okay,
We
so go ahead, Barb.
I have in my mind that we have approximately 20 to 30 official members. I should know that because I'm supposed to be keeping track, but
I can tell you exactly how many we have.
okay.
Let's see here. Right now we have Right now we have 12 that are renewed voting members. And then it sounds like you have 2 new ones. Barb, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, your dad renewed, and then that other person that you sent me, Jim.
Okay, all right.
So thank you for that.
Tom Stack.
Go ahead, Tom.
So I'm willing to put those a tag in the database. If you can give me a link to your list of members.
Okay, yeah, can we talk about that outside the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Jack.
go ahead, Patty.
I think it's a good idea to really quickly jump in on the nation builder. It's a good idea to have them in that database, I guess, but then somebody's got to be responsible for going in and adding and updating in nation builder. So just tossing that out, pass.
Thanks, Patty. And we can talk about that more outside the meeting. But just to get the proposal that's on the floor dealt with, so that would be an increase of 4 compared to 2020, is what Tom's suggesting. Any stand-asides? Any blocks? Okay, so that's passed then, Patty. And we move on to some dates for the short-term objectives for that annual goal. The hard copy mailing, Patty is suggesting that be completed by 4/17, April 17th. And she's looking for some people to help with that. So anybody want to jump in on that?
I'll help.
Thanks, Bill. And I'll take that question mark off of there. Well, actually, formally we need to agree to these short-term objectives. Are there any stand-asides on that? Any block?
Tom Stack.
Go ahead, Tom.
We've got an unknown person in the waiting room, so I'm gonna see if I can dialogue with him. I don't.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I'll be kind of out of the loop.
Okay, and I will take that question mark out of there, and that will stand then. And then a date for social media person as a priority, and that would be like especially making donating easy on our Facebook page. So that's part of this development goal. So treasurer, outreach, information technology, and membership are on that list of people that and committees that are leading on that particular annual goal. Barb, have you worked with anybody on that yet? I know some people were talking about it, but I don't know if anybody's approached you on it. Making donating easy on the Facebook page or on the website.
That's right. We did talk about that last time.
Yeah, some people were talking about approaching you on that because they had some ideas about how to do it. I think one of them was Carrie. Sounded like she knew some stuff about doing that, right?
Well, we do that at the state level, correct?
Yeah, I think we do at the state level.
So that would be the easiest place to look to see how it's working and if it's worth the cost, because there is a cost when you make it easier. We have to pay PayPal, right?
Yeah,
That
Pat-
was, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Patty confirmed that last time for us and this time
Right.
again. So, okay, so that's where we're at with that. As far as dates goes on that, I think we'll have to hold off on those until we get somebody that's willing to work with you on that, because, is anybody here, Tom, besides us?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get a response from this person. They're not responding.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your question? I mean, I didn't understand.
Just wondering if anybody else was here, because last time Carrie was part of the discussion on this particular item. And
well, here's one thing. So Mike just said morning, everyone, but Mike McAllister's mic is muted. I don't know.
Hi.
Hi, Mike.
Okay, you're there.
Hi, Mike.
So can you see the screen share, Mike, for where we're at?
Absolutely. I've actually been here for a little while.
Okay. So,
Sneaky.
But Barb guilted me into announcing myself.
did you have anything you wanted to say about this social media person and website as far as making donating easy? We might have to take those off as unrealistic goals if we can't somehow, figure out how to do that without costing us money, because it seems like we don't want to be paying PayPal, so they might not be realistic.
Yeah, Patty said,
Go ahead, Patty.
anytime you're going to be receiving payments through a website, you have to have a payment processor. And that is always going to result in at least a 2.5 to 3.5% per transaction charge, always.
Yeah. Okay, I'll work on getting those off of there for next time. Because
Bill.
go ahead, Bill.
Well, 2.5% is not very much. If we got just a couple of extra people by that route, it would more than pay for the 2%. So since Carrie seemed to know how this was done, why don't we just put a hold on this, and maybe she'll join the meeting today, maybe she'll join next month, and we might be able to move on this eventually.
So
Okay.
just for my own thinking on this, thank you for putting it more clearly, Bill. So that's 37 cents. Did I do
Right.
that? Yeah, 37 cents per membership. So when I think of it that way, I'm thinking, well, that's not much at all. I don't mind paying that much. So
Okay.
I'll personally pay it.
yeah.
I'll
Okay.
cover all the 37 cents.
Wow. Thanks, Bill.
All right, Bill.
All
So
right.
then we just have to find out the steps to get it started, and I can talk to Carrie about that.
Patty?
Okay, great.
Tom Stack.
Okay, I have Patty on the stack and then Tom.
Mike Stack.
Yeah, so
Mike?
I've set up a number of these for my organization, different accounts, and I know the process and everything, but I'd be interested to hear what Carrie, because it seemed like Carrie had some other tips. So unless Carrie has some other tips, generally, whoever manages the website or the Facebook page, whoever that is, that person needs to set up an account, whether it's PayPal or some other payment processor. So it's a matter of setting up an account and then integrating it into the website or Facebook. But I'd be interested to hear what Carrie, I don't recall what she had to share on that pass.
Okay. And it sounds like Barb's going to reach out to Carrie. So thanks, Patty, for clarifying that. And Tom's on the stack.
Yeah, so two things. So the angle that Carrie has is she has a connection with somebody who's done the process, and she worked with them. But a key thing that I thought was a blocker or a showstopper for us was the employer ID, that we need an employer ID. But I want to try to let this person in, but I'm going to get ready to to kick them out right away. So I'm just warning you, we might get Zoom bombed. So, because
Okay.
here we go.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
And Mike is next on the stack, but we are 3 minutes over on this, so we're gonna have to wind it up, please. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that the finding a volunteer to direct our social media is kind of a permanent goal, at least until we find one. It's obviously a clear priority,
Mhm.
and I don't know that we can effectively set a time limit on it.
Mhm. Okay, thanks.
Okay, we
Um,
have a new member who's got their mic on. Could you identify
Welcome.
yourself? Welcome. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye.
You should probably mute that person, Tom. Not
Okay,
identifying themselves.
right, all right. I don't know if I
Okay,
can mute them.
all right. So we're gonna move on to the co-chair report. So because the other short-term objectives we need Barbara for, so. Co-chair report, discussions with Mike on agenda and other matters, contact with Barb and Barbara, contact with George, Carrie, and Tom Gonzalez. Reviewed February meeting. Recording and learned how to store the minutes, thanks to Tom. Reviewed City County Task Force on Climate and Economic Equity, preliminary report on to page 30. And also we had our meeting on that with Mike and Tom and Barbara. Worked with Patty on the minutes and put them out and discussed member database and also discussed website with Tom. Secretary's report. Basically approval of the minutes, I guess. You're muted, Patty.
Yeah, so I propose that the minutes are approved from the last meeting.
Okay. Any stand-asides on that or any blocks? Okay, February minutes are approved. Thanks, Patty. Secretary's report. Barb.
Oh, you mean treasurer's report?
Yes, sorry.
We now have $670.50 in the savings and $526.45 in the checking.
Thank you.
With two new, well, one renewed and one new member.
Okay. And anybody have any questions for Barb or any stand-asides for approving her report? Any blocks? Okay, membership committee.
Okay, so we're aiming to send out the hard copy mailing for membership renewals as the membership renewal campaign. And that, as Greg mentioned, that's the goal is to get that out by the 17th of April. And it's not going to be a huge, we don't have that many pieces to mail, so it's not a huge job. So just to say thanks, Bill, for offering to help with that. I'll print everything out, like we sort of usually coordinate and just get the labels and envelopes and everything up over to you. And that's pretty much it on that, I think, unless I'm forgetting something on that, Greg.
No, I don't think so. I just added there that, we can review, we can renew at any time during the year by $15 payment or 1 hour barter and filling out the membership form. I'm working on a couple of our folks to get membership forms still back from them, even though they're obviously very committed and working for the party. So
Yeah,
a lot of people. Go ahead, Patty.
Hard copy mail to people, and just to include a message to say we really need them to return the the forms so they can be added to the database. Maybe that will motivate people to actually get a form back, because otherwise it's hard to keep track of actually who's renewed and so on if they don't return a form. And,
Yeah, thanks, Patty.
yeah.
Patty,
So, yeah.
just have a question. Is this for the Milwaukee Green Party? Because I feel like I just got one, but that was for the state, correct?
Right. This is for Greater Milwaukee. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
So
Okay.
we just have a list of, like you were saying, Barb, over 100 people, I think, on our list that'll go out to, and hopefully some people will be inspired to renew who haven't renewed lately.
Great.
On that.
Okay.
The other thing is the State Membership Outreach Committee met and decided that on April 17th, Saturday, April 17th, for the spring gathering, state gathering, which will be on Zoom. And the theme of the state gathering is going to be the Green Party, the party of the working people. And so we're in the process of planning and bringing on, it's going to be a great program where we have some great ideas for panels and guest speakers and so on. So I hope everybody will be able to attend, and then also be able to encourage anybody come in contact and let them know the date, and also that we're looking to bring on some really interesting guests, and that'll be shared in an e-blast soon.
And that was, again, what date, Patty? I'll just put it in the announcements.
April 17th.
April 17th?
Mm-hmm. So for once, it doesn't interfere with the Greater Milwaukee meeting.
Thanks.
And
April 17th, and that's our spring gathering.
yeah. And I think that is all I have, unless somebody can, on the membership committee, can think of anything I've left out. Okay.
Just
Well, yeah.
a question. I can go to our website and print out a membership form, correct?
For Greater
Pretty
Milwaukee?
Yeah.
You know the answer to that, Tom?
I think so. I think it might be a PDF or something, but
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
So is this Pearl, or wait, who is this talking?
Oh, it's
Barb.
Barb.
Oh, Barb, because the reason I say Pearl is now I'm putting it together. I talked to Pearl. She lives in the roughly Walker's Point, I think, a little bit west of there, and we talked for quite a long time. So she's she's got a number of issues. One of her issues, I would say, is like economic justice. Seems like a person that may have some time to do some volunteer work. I mean, encouraging her to say hello. Pass.
Right.
So Pearl is here?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I allowed to just jump in? My video
Sure.
doesn't work, but hi guys.
Hi, Barb.
Hi.
Hello, yeah, and I do have time. It seemed a little unclear to me exactly how to get involved in specific groups or issues, but I'd love to learn more, and so I'm just trying to figure out the direction of things and how things are moving. But I'm excited to learn more.
Well,
Thanks.
Pearl, just so you understand how we're working the meetings usually on this these monthly meetings, we have somebody that facilitates the meeting. Today, that's me, and I will be keeping a stack. So if you want to speak, just say your name and then say stack, and I'll put you on the stack. And then right now, can you see the screen sharing that we're doing? There's a cursor
Yes,
on okay. So there's a cursor on the membership committee report. We just finished that. So now we're moving on to the IT social media report. Tom?
Okay. Usually I have a timer, but I think this will be quick. So most of this is the state level, but there's overlap. So we worked on at the state level, the membership list for voting, and clarification about the fees and how to do some queries. Tomas and I have been meeting more than once a month about IT work, and I'm trying to, for example, switching subjects now to the local, like we have to renew the encryption certificate in 3 weeks. So I want to train him on how to do that. And long term, I want to get away with having to do that because it's a pain. Otherwise, another new thing. It's interesting because I sent out an email to several hundred people twice about this meeting, and we didn't get a single new attendee as a result of those emails. It's interesting to me. I mean, it's great that Pearl is here, but that was because of a phone call. It shows the power of making phone calls. All right, I'm gonna speed up here. Yeah, Greg and he helped me fix a bug that I didn't know I had this morning. So the notifications should be going out more. Last thing. I talked with Barb about the idea of transferring the domain registrar for milwaukeegreens.org to a different registrar. So I'm planning to do that. There's technical reasons why I want to do that. And that's all I have.
Are you talking about Barb Eisenberg?
Barb Dahlgren.
Barbara
Yeah,
Dahlgren?
actually, no, I want to bring this up on a different angle, and that is when the Green Party has bills that are paid once a year, do we have a finance group that, like if I put that in my credit card, then I can get billed. I mean, it would be nice if we had one credit card for the entire Green Party for all these. We don't have that many accounts, but this would be an example of an annual fee, right? And rather than me billing, it would be nice to have the treasurer maybe handle that. You see where I'm going?
Are you talking about state party, Tom?
No, I'm talking about us.
Oh, okay.
So, it's a $12 bill once a year. So I guess I'm in effect making a motion to come up with a mechanism for handling periodic bills through, like one designated charge card passed.
Okay. Is it okay if we put that motion on the next agenda? Because we're actually out of time and we're behind a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right. And then elections committee report, we'll wait for Barbara for that one.
I'm here.
Outreach. Oh, good.
Yeah, I've
Hi,
been
Barbara.
here. So
Hi, Barbara.
here, I'll start my video so y'all can see me. Hi, everyone. I have some exciting news to report from our elections committee. We have cleaved in half from the state elections committee so that we have a local distinct from the state elections committee once more. So we had a successful meeting this month for our local, and that was just this last week on the 10th, and we've scheduled another one for April 14th at 5 p.m. We're starting to do these through Zoom, I believe. And we mostly had a few issues that we were talking about. Obviously, the April elections are coming up very quickly, less than a month away. So if you look in the chat, I've linked basically the whole Alex Brower email that I also sent to you guys through the Greater Milwaukee Green Party email. So there's the whole calendar of all of his great events coming up. So if you see a date and say, oh, I want to be able to make that, you can reach out to Alex's campaign directly and make those events. He's got like a trivia night fundraiser coming up, and some really interesting things that are not just like the regular door knocking and everything else. There's also text banking and all kinds of stuff. So there's really something for everybody. The second thing I wanted to let everybody know about is that we are just about a month away too from the Spring Conservation Congress hearing. They've decided that it's not going to be in person again, which means that they're going to add another year onto every elected official's term automatically again. I'm still not sure if that's okay statutorily. I'm looking into that, because it seems like it's really undemocratic to just cancel elections outright. So there is a way to, I provided the link below that says dnrwisconsin.gov. That has all the details about what's in the spring hearing, what questions are going to be on the spring questionnaire. That is basically like a vote that everybody and anybody around here can go and fill that out online starting on April 12th during the virtual hearing or whatever they want to call it. And there's like a 72-hour period where you can make your voice heard on those issues. There's usually about 80 questions. Some of them are from the Conservation Congress. Some of them are from the DNR about little fishing restrictions and all kinds of things like that. And then there's also a big blue button in that link that says that you can submit a citizen proposal, a citizen question, meaning that that could be something that's future state legislation, depending on what it is. And the deadline to submit one of those is 5 p.m. on April 5th. So those are two very important dates. I'll keep bringing those up periodically in email and things like that. If anybody is interested in writing a hearing question with me or wanting to present questions with me, I'd be more than happy to help out with that. As you all know, I'm elected to the Conservation Congress, and that's part of my job as being elected in that position, is to help create some of those proposals. So you can reach out to me anytime with my number or email on that stuff. I think it's really important because we can actually affect the laws about our environmental state of Wisconsin. So those were two things. And the third thing was that we were trying to address our priorities from the Greater Milwaukee Green Party, where we wanted to, and Greg, maybe you want to elaborate on what we were talking about with this, that we have some goals to get people registered to vote and get poll watchers. So we have the spring election coming up. If people would like to sign up to be poll watchers for that election, that would be a good start to our priority as a Greater Milwaukee Green Party. So those were the three main things. And I really appreciate that people came and supported our local elections committee, because we're really growing as a group, and it was really a good time to start thinking about our local elections as separate from the statewide ones as well. And we'll be talking about a lot of other things in the future, like strategizing for the next big statewide elections in 2022. So really exciting stuff in the future, and I'll pass.
Okay, let's move up to, well, you can see where I moved the agenda to what Barbara's talking about, poll watchers. That's for the April 6th election is what we're suggesting. So does anybody right now want to volunteer to be a poll watcher at the April 6th election for State Superintendent of Public Instruction? And that would also be Alex Brower. So it might be fun to poll watch in his school board district. Was there somebody that wanted to be on the stack?
I did, Greg.
Go ahead, Patty.
So So Barbara, are all of the committee members members? Do you know, are they members of the Greater Milwaukee Green Party, like paid members, or are they other people that you have brought on?
Yeah, all the members of our local committee so far are just people who have helped out with the state committee in the past or are still on the state committee. But we'd love to grow more if there are more people locally who are interested and just want to work on this specific aspect.
Okay.
Does anybody object to, on the poll watchers thing, which you can see on the agenda, does anybody object to that date of April 6th? I would like to volunteer to be a poll watcher because German Immersion School is where our polling place is, which is only about 4 blocks from my house, and it's a very cool place to easy and safe to watch the polls there. I did go and watch during the presidential election, but it was like nothing happening. So anybody else besides me?
Stack on
Go ahead,
related to
Tom.
the election. So I've got a question for everybody. I just updated the meeting notice for that April 14th meeting. Does anyone else want to get a meeting notification other than Barb and I for the local group? And then the other thing.
Are you talking about the election committee, Tom?
Yeah, the local chapter.
Yeah, I'd like a reminder. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
And you know that I'm on there, right, Tom?
Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, you want to be on there too. Okay. And then a real quick thing. I'm just saying this to remind myself. I would like to, I'd like to email the election commission and find out about the possibility of getting access to the poll tabulation printout at the end. It's a paper tape printout. And I need to email them in advance of the election. So it's just a reminder to myself, because this is being done in other nationwide as kind of a auditing thing. Pass.
Okay, we're past time on this item, so I'm gonna just take a quick vote. That's why that question mark is there. We do need your approval. So anybody object to us doing an April 6th poll watchers short-term objective? Any stand-asides? Any blocks? Okay, that's approved, Patty. And we're gonna move on to volunteer job openings. So some of these are new.
Greg,
Go ahead, Mike.
I think I'm next.
Oh, sorry. Yep, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I'm starting my video so people can see me too.
Good.
We had a outreach committee meeting on Thursday. The primary focus for the outreach committee for the coming year is to fulfill the chapter goal of building a movement and a coalition for an anti-racist Green New Deal in Greater Milwaukee. And we are slowly but surely moving towards that goal. We've been doing, as a committee,
You cut out, Mike. We lost your audio. So while we're waiting for Mike to come back, we'll quickly just hit these volunteer job openings. There's 2 new ones there. A Zoom czar backup person for our monthly meetings, because right now Tom does that, but if he was to pass out at the control stick, then we would have nobody running our Zoom meeting.
a little over a year now. And then
Oh, Mike.
and
Mike.
in addition,
Mike, Mike,
Mike.
governor put together a task force on
Wow.
Mike, can you hear us?
economic development and climate justice
Apparently
that
not.
Mike,
released a report in January.
Mike,
Greg
can you
has
hear
been
us?
reading I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can now, but you cut out for about at least a minute, maybe even two.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we didn't hear anything at the start.
Okay. That's probably good because it was mostly incoherent. I will
Okay.
try. I'll start over. The outreach committee is focused this year on building a coalition and a movement for an anti-racist Green New Deal in Greater Milwaukee. Toward that end, a bunch our members have been doing some research into existing activities towards these ends, and also noting that both on this local level, a city county task force has been researching and engaging and trying to come up with solutions for aiming towards climate justice in some fashion or another. It's both members of the city council, county board, and representatives of a bunch of civic organizations, including the NAACP, represented by our friend George Martin. And Greg has been reading their initial report that came out about a year ago. And then I've been reading the results of a governor's task force led by Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. What we're learning a whole bunch of stuff about how government today deals with climate issues. And we're also learning a whole lot about what we don't know about how government works in these areas. So we're engaged in research, and we have a whole lot more research to do. The other thing that we talked about uniting on a series of goals and for this campaign, and I wanted to share those with everyone, possibly in an effort to bring Pearl onto our committee. Our primary goal is to build a successful movement to win the demands set out in the anti-racist Green New Deal program that we're developing. Trying to always remember that building the movement is nearly as important as winning the demands. Our secondary goals are for us. We want to prove that the Green Party is an effective and valuable asset to radical and progressive activists in Greater Milwaukee. We want to prove that we're serious about fighting racism while allowing people of color to lead. We want to recruit candidates for future elections on the local level. We want to identify people who will be our allies when we seek ballot access. As folks know, we did not get on the ballot for our presidential campaign last time, and part of that was nobody came to our defense. So we want to find some people who will be out, who would come to our defense the next time. And finally, we also want to identify people and organizations that may talk about solving the climate crisis, but don't walk the walk, in addition to finding genuine allies who really want to make a difference. So those are our goals. We will be meeting on the second Thursday of every month for the foreseeable future on Zoom. And on this same bad time, same bad channel. And we continue to look for folks who are interested in helping out.
Patty's
This is our outward facing challenge.
Okay, we are about 3 minutes over on this, but we do have Patty on the stack. Go ahead, Patty.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of a conflict with the meetings, Mike, because I think that the, no, so you said second Thursday of every month, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. So I'll know.
And
Tom stack.
okay, make it quick, everybody, please.
Oh, just that I think that this is kind of transformative for me in that I'm seeing these task force documents and all the local work that's been done to look at Milwaukee, and it just brings up how much I don't know and how there is this body of knowledge and experts out there, probably people that are program directors and grant writers and sociologists, and so anyhow, there's a lot to learn, yes, so I'm at least lurking in these meetings, and I will be reading some of the materials. Pass.
Thanks, Tom. Also, just Patty, for the minutes, George Martin no longer represents the NAACP, but he is on 3 subcommittees of that task force and still is working on the task force. So he's been giving us updates. We need to quickly move on to the Zoom czar backup person. A good way to start that might be, we need somebody to watch the waiting room during this meeting, and Tom would be willing to train you to do that. And then, like today, Patty has volunteered to do that, but we need someone to do it, preferably giving Patty a little break so she can do her secretary stuff and not have to watch the waiting room at the same time. But if anybody else wants to do that, just please let us know. You can interrupt us at any time with that. That would be great. Oh, you managed?
I managed to let Barbara in half an hour ago.
Cool.
Are you willing to do that for us, Mike, at the meeting?
Sure.
Okay, good. We have a volunteer. We can take that job off the list. And the other one that's here is blog posts for website. And, you know, short is as good as long. So short blog post is fine. And Barbara, I was going to ask you, when you're doing the writing for what's happening with the, what's that called? Conservation Congress. Do you think we could use that, just cut and paste it into our website for a updated blog post, so we'd have a current blog post there?
I mean, I've been meaning to write about what Greens can do as part of this stuff, so I could definitely volunteer for a blog post. Pass.
Great. When do you think you could have it ready for us?
Probably in the next week or so.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks. We got one. And just so everyone knows, we're open for those blog posts. We need them every month. Once a month is great. And the next item on here is very quick. Just strategic discussions. Sometimes we're going to have strategy discussions around elections and stuff like that we might not want just any member of the public to hear. So we have decided, and we did consensus on this, that we'll be putting that in the first part of the meeting, and that would be not open to the public. If we do have any strategic discussions, they'll be in that steering committee part of the meeting, in the first business part of the meeting. So just to reiterate that. And then just so everyone knows, there's a free app too called Signal, where you can have more privacy on your phone, and also I think with maybe with your computer too, I'm not sure, but I use it on my phone because I had some concerns about my phone being listened in on. And, you know, that's why Edward Snowden is in Russia, letting us know that, you know, well, we're not having as much privacy as we think we're having. So, you know, do you get it that this Signal thing is free and a way that you can have privacy on your phone if you want it? Okay, any discussion on that quickly? That's supposed to be a quick item and we are behind. Okay, let's move on then to the team skills.
Well, I
So-
actually my finger.
Oh, sorry.
That I didn't call stack. I'm sorry. I
That's
just
all right,
want
go
to
ahead.
comment that we've been using Signal in some of our women's liberation organizing, and it's new to me, but it's got some nice features, and it is nice. I think it's a good thing. I'm liking it.
And this is Carrie, right?
Yes. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
late.
That's okay, I just couldn't see you. Thanks, Carrie, for that reinforcement. And if we move on to team skills, what we have there is that managing dynamic complex change thing. And we've had this quite a bit. I didn't bother to screen share at this time, but we are on skills right now. So we've already done needs assessment and our vision. So we just need to talk for a minute about what skills we have, and I'll start that off. So for me, we have very strong committee chairs as an example of the skills that we have right now. We have a strong IT committee chair. Tom is very knowledgeable about IT and very open to helping us with IT things. So we have a strong membership chairperson. Patty handles membership both at the state and at the local level. And as I said, this month she helped me to get the database all set for 2020 so that we would have a nice baseline to start with. We have Mike doing outreach, and he, you know, decided to not be our co-chair anymore just so that he could be an effective outreach chair. And he's done that by having outreach meetings to work on this anti-racist Green New Deal. And it's worked great. We've had 3 meetings, I think, so far. So a meeting a month, which has been great. And we are making excellent progress. And so that's just an example of some of the skills that we have. Any other skills that we would want to list? These are our strengths as an organization, Greater Milwaukee Green Party.
Patty Stack.
Go ahead, Patty.
I just think that the fact that we have a really devoted, consistent membership group that continues to keep the chapter alive and thriving. That's a strength. Pass.
Okay.
Tom Stack.
Go ahead, Tom.
I think we have the ability to get out on the street and mobilize from, we're not fantastic, but we have some of those skills.
Great.
I mean, you know, for giving a street events pass.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Tom. Anybody else?
I think we're good at facilitating the meeting, so it moves along. That would be you, Greg. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. Anybody else?
Stack.
Go ahead, Barbara.
We really have a lot of attention to democracy and what that means. A lot of groups don't really realize when things are undemocratic, or they don't really try to fix those things and make the group work for everybody. And I think that this group does a good job of trying to get a lot of different voices heard and really have a robust discussion. Pass.
Thanks,
Tom,
Barbara. Go ahead, Tom.
Stack. I would second and third that, like, or that's, I've seen other groups where it's like a lecture, you know, where there's one central figure that just dominates the entire meeting. And yeah, I think we work hard to not do that, and that's wonderful. Pass.
Mike Stack.
Go ahead, Mike.
While we have a solid grounding in our core principles, we work very hard to educate both ourselves and the community at large about our ideas and our and how we get to where we need to go.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Well, that's our time limit on that one, folks. But wow, great participation. Thanks. Educational component. So today people suggested that we have a political discussion on what are the top community political issues and why. And we can narrow that a little bit if we need to. But we have probably 15 minutes for this because we're a little bit over. So go ahead. Well, I'll start with
Greg, could you scroll the agenda down?
I am right on the spot that we're at, educational component.
I'm just seeing out. I'm still seeing outreach.
Anybody else? What are you seeing on the agenda? Are you seeing educational component and team skills, team building?
Well, click your cursor. Oh, your cursor's on political discussion.
Right.
So,
okay. So good.
So if Mike clicks on your icon, it should take him right to that spot.
Okay, does that help you, Mike?
I'll figure it out. Thanks. Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll start. One of the things that seems to be a big issue in the community is the whole economic equity and just racial equity in general. So I think, you know, more than at any other time that I've lived here, and I've lived here for, let's see, since 2000. Yeah, since 2000. Yeah, 2000. So I've lived here for 21 years this time. The racial equity thing is really on the table, and really, as we're going through this county city task force document, which is on, this task force works on climate justice and racial, or mostly economic equity, I think is what it's called, which comes down to racial equity. It's really great to see, like Tom was saying, all the things that are going on in the city. It's pretty impressive, really. So what I'm doing is summarizing that document, because that's the one that's assigned to me. And then Mike's working on the governor's task force document, so that we'll know what we're talking about when we start this coalition building. We can say, okay, specifically, this is where we need to go. Because some of this stuff is already happening on a grand scale, at least on paper. So as we're investigating and talking to George, because he's on those 3 subcommittees, we find out exactly what's going on in the community, so we can be very targeted when we approach our coalition members. But this racial equity thing seems to be really on the table in a big way for the first time for real. I mean, it was always on the table, I think, when I'm in this community the past 21 years for real, but I think the George Floyd thing and other things have really pushed it. And speaking of the George Floyd thing, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk for a minute today about any actions in Milwaukee that are happening during this George Floyd policeman's trial in Minnesota, which is our sister state. So hopefully we can support the Minnesotans in this trial time. Pass.
Barbara Stack.
Go ahead, Barbara.
I really feel like the central political issue, locally, statewide, nationally, is really the elephant in the room, COVID-19. It's the reason that we are on this video call today instead of meeting in person. It's the reason that we haven't been able to meet in over a year. It's the reason that we've seen a lot of things come to light lately. There were reports early on about the economic and social justice disparities because of the numbers of deaths in the Black and Brown communities. And there's been sort of a skewed way that a lot of people look at this issue, I think, where, I mean, I could have presented that idea long before the numbers came to light that Black and Brown communities would be hit hardest, because they're hit hardest by everything. Environmentally, we have these disparities built into our system so that we have poisoned water most in these areas. We have poisoned air in these areas. Not a dollar has been spent on mitigating these problems during the COVID-19 era. No attention has been spent on that kind of stuff at all. We saw these vast food lines starting to form, and yet no attention has been really spent on localizing food and creating food sustainability for us all. So I see this major issue that's like a black hole of, you know, everybody has to be vaccinated, and that's that. And that's the be all end all of COVID-19. We all have to be socially distanced and masked up until the CDC says otherwise, and that's that. But as a Green Party, I think that we ought to look at that and see it's a respiratory disease, and our air is smoggy, our water isn't clean. We have people that aren't getting proper medical care, aren't getting food, they don't have housing. There are no basics available for so many people. And so that's really why I think of that as the central issue. And it touches all of these health issues, all of these basic needs issues that are so important to us as a party. Pass.
Thanks, Barbara.
Tom Stack.
Go ahead, Tom.
So I started scribbling things down without thinking. The first thing I put down was COVID. And then I realized everything else is pretty much national for me. But it's such a complex issue. I go both ways. I have the cognitive dissonance. But to summarize, I'm deeply researching it, and what comes out of it, partly what comes out of it for me, is this health freedom movement. And I think Barb is interested in that. And so I've become interested in that. Plus, I've become very interested in the origins of the virus. So, but I'm not, it's such a, what's the right words? It's such a hot issue. It's like, I'm not going to discuss it in any depth, but I think I agree it's impacting the economy unbelievably. Pass.
Okay. So anybody else?
I was on the stack, Greg.
Oh, sorry, Patty, go ahead.
So, Greg, just a second ago, you mentioned that there was a lot of good work going on out there in the community. And so sort of on the flip side of what Barbara's saying is, I think as an educational, part of the educational component, a couple of things. I'd like to know if there's what's going on in the community, if there's work going on in the community to actually make some impact on the issues Barbara was discussing. I'd like to know if there's nothing going on. So as part of the educational component. And then secondly, I wonder if anybody is aware, I'm sure you probably all are, but Charles Blow, his book called The Devil You Know, he wrote a manifesto. He's an African-American man who wrote this book, which is like a manifesto suggesting that African-Americans should leave the North and move back South, because that's where they will have the most political power is in the South. But one of the points he makes is that one of the devils, are white people who claim to support and claim to support racial equity, but then are only sort of a flash in the pan with that, like with the George Floyd movement. And then, the white people, he says, get all inspired. They come out because that's makes them feel good, but then they disappear. And so I would be interested, as part of the educational component, to hear from African Americans who are out there. Is this like, here we are, all white people sitting in this meeting talking about racial equality. And so that really hit me when I heard him say that, because is that a fact? And I'd just be interested to hear the perception from the other side. Pass.
Okay, so what I hear you saying, Patty, is that, well, one thing that, can be part of this educational component for everyone is, if you look at the, it's called what is that called, Mike? The Green New Deal capture document? Are you there, Mike?
Getting unmuted.
Okay.
Our brainstorming document. Yes.
Yeah. So if you look at that, Patty, you'll see the notes that Mike and I have made on the documents that we're looking at. It's actually very impressive what the city and county are doing already with Green New Deal stuff, climate change stuff, that kind of stuff. Very, very impressive. So that's why we're having to do this research, so that when we actually approach coalition partners for demands that we want to make for an anti-racist Green New Deal, we can be very targeted, and we can say, okay, this is what's already happening. We've researched it. We've made sure it's really happening. And this is what we need to push for as a coalition. But there is a lot of good stuff happening. So that's one part of what you said. And then I'd just like to clarify for Pearl and some of the other people that may not have been here through the whole process. We do have frequent participation by speakers from the community representing organizations. Our last speaker represented 3 youth organizations, African American speakers, and then we also have had a number of times speakers from closed Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility, which was a coalition of criminal justice folks that were people of color working on that issue in coalition with other folks. So hopefully we try to get as many people of color organizations to come and talk to us about what's going on in the community. Also, Tom and I have, mostly Tom, have gone to the, what's that called on Saturdays, Tom? I don't think they're meeting Zoom-wise, but.
So they're, I'm looking at their website, community brainstorming,
Right.
and I'm looking right now to see if, wow, it's pretty sad. They need IT help, right? I mean, it still says
I believe you.
all events canceled until further notice. Wow. I mean,
Okay.
come on, guys.
So Tom and I, mostly Tom again, I went like 3 times, but Tom pretty consistently went to that every month for a couple of years for us. And so that's a thing that's been going on for decades in the central city, where all the politicians usually show up, and it's very much run by the African American community. So a really nice way to network, and we still will continue doing that. But any suggestions that people have are always welcome. We have about 1 minute left on this item. Anybody?
Greg said.
Go ahead, Mike.
A few reactions. First, yes, I think we've done a reasonably decent job on bringing voices from the African American community and other peoples of color to our meetings. I am struck by the fact that the one time we brought the Black Panthers to our meeting, they and we asked them about, you know, the Black Lives Matter demonstrations that were occurring at that time, and they said, "Oh, the rough equivalent. Oh, we don't do demonstrations." But so that may have been a misstep on our part, but nonetheless, we're doing our best. I will share the link to our brainstorming strategy document in the chat. I want to caution folks not to share it. This is really an internal document at this point, so please don't share it out and about, but we certainly welcome participation and having a look at it, and it's editable by anyone who does the who can who has the link. So I'll post that in the chat later shortly.
Thanks, Mike. And that's what you're talking about, Patty. You know, that would be the thing that you're looking for to see what's going on in the community. It's quite impressive, really.
Yeah.
We also have we're collecting names and ideas for potential allies and people to be part of the coalition. I should make some links in there at some point, but if people know of organizations that ought to be part of this coalition, they should certainly add that to the document. I'll shut up now.
Thanks, Mike. And then our next item on the agenda is the announcements. And really, the two new ones there are Strike for the Climate, which is March 19th, so that's coming up fast. 350 Milwaukee has decided to probably join us on that, and for sure are sharing their signs. They already gave me one, but anybody that wants to show up for that, it will be at the corner of Water and Wisconsin at noon on 3/19. So you can strike, skip work that day, skip school, just skip instead of drive, whatever. And then the other thing is the Madison Action Day, and that happens once every 2 years, and that's coordinated by Wisdom, which is a criminal justice reform group in Wisconsin. And that's Thursday, April 15th in Madison. So there will be more stuff coming out on that, as far as they usually have buses and stuff like that going to Madison. Okay, and we have our spring gathering on there. And we can move on to coalition updates. Barbara, did you want to say anything about the Poor People's Army this month?
They've gotten a lot of local press lately, which was really good. There was somebody who was a disabled woman who had been housed in public housing, that she got housing vouchers, and she was going to get kicked out because they left the housing voucher the same and the rent kept being raised. So she's disabled, was not able to work besides the pandemic stuff. And the Poor People's Army supported a successful protest to keep her in her house. So that's some good news out of the Poor People's Campaign. Really, they have an update session once a month, and I try and get to that, where they have not only national news, but international news about Poor People's Army advocates around the world, from Haiti, from places in Africa. places in Europe, a lot of people in California as well, and Florida. So there's many different allies in the Poor People's Army, and they're always hoping to see us get up and running off the ground here in Milwaukee, but there is no chapter quite yet. So if anybody is really rearing up to go on housing issues, I recommend reaching out to the Poor People's Army. And I'll continue to share updates of events that they might have online, because they periodically do trainings.
Thanks, Barbara. Anything on Get the Lead Out?
As far as I know, they're still working on getting the city of Milwaukee to take responsibility for the pipes. I've reached out to Robert Miranda myself recently, because a lot of the streets in West Allis are being redone, and they're not really taking as much care as they need to in order to prevent lead poisoning over here. So I'm seeing if maybe they want to expand out to greater Milwaukee instead of just Milwaukee, but a lot of the research has just been done in the city. And he's been very helpful to bring me EPA reports and things like that. So we may have like our own little branch here in West Allis of Get the Lead Out as well. Pass.
Thanks, Barbara, and thanks for speeding it along. We are past time on this item already, but I'll just quickly say that, like I said, 350 we've talked about. They're probably going to work on the global climate strike with us. DSA update on single payer. Anybody working on that issue with DSA? Okay. Southeastern Wisconsin Normal. I posted a link that they sent out to last Thursday's county public meeting to changing the fine for possession of small amounts of marijuana to $1. I wasn't able to go, so I don't know the result of that, but keep you posted on that. Anything on End of the Wars Coalition, Stand for Peace?
Nothing new on that.
Okay. Milwaukee Community Care and Mutual Aid, same thing. River West Pantry needs help on Friday mornings, and Street Angels also need help in the kitchen. Wisconsin for Safe Technology, 5G issues. I did post some stuff, sharing some stuff of theirs. It was called 5G Crisis, the email that went out to our list. And that was targeting schools in general, making schools safe with their technology for the children. Their particular one that went out this month. Again, here's the global climate strike information, sponsored by Fridays for the Future, noon, March 19th, at the corner of Water in Wisconsin, downtown Milwaukee. And we can move on to State Superintendent of Public Instruction candidates. Not a whole lot to report there, except that, you know, we're basically seeing Jill Underly getting most of the support from more and more organizations. And as far as Alex Brower goes, Barb shared the stuff in the chat to link to his stuff that we can support his campaign. I did talk to Alex this month, and he was very grateful for all the help we gave him with primary, and we'll be thanking people formally for that later in the meeting. Let's see, short-term objectives development for anti-racist Milwaukee Green New Deal. The committee came up with a couple suggestions there for your approval. Study what initiatives are already underway, and we suggested that we would be ready for that June, for our June meeting. Anybody have any stand-asides on that, or we're making that as a proposal for a short-term objective? Any blocks? Okay, that's approved then, Patty. And then the draft list of demands we would have completed by the next month is our short-term objective for that goal. And any stand-asides on that? We're making that as a proposal for short-term objective.
This is going I'm finding that this is going really fast. I'm not sure what's on the table right now.
Oh, sorry, I should have moved my cursor. The short-term objectives for the anti-racist Milwaukee Green New Deal.
But we just approved something, and I
Yeah, we
was
just approved the first one, which is right above my cursor. Study what initiatives are already underway. See that one there, 621?
Yeah, but oh, I see. If you put the word Green New Deal in that sentence, that would help somebody coming in from left field understand. I know it's above there, but
Okay,
okay,
yeah, we can put that in, no problem.
oh, okay, I'm fine. It's
So
just
that's
I
what we're
want to be
talking about.
careful you don't. I don't like the. I think one of these parliamentary things that I want to guard against is people sort of falling asleep, and then all these motions get passed because people don't say anything that doesn't. You know, that they need to understand what they're approving. But
Sure.
yeah, I support that.
Okay. So what we're talking about is the anti-racist Milwaukee Green New Deal short-term objectives. The first one that was passed was study what initiatives are already underway, and that will be due June of this year. And then next is the draft list of demands, and we're saying we'll have that ready in July. Anybody stand aside from that proposal? Anybody block? Okay. Then we can move on to the outreach actions. So basically, for that, I think we've had a hard time connecting with, I haven't even looked at the spreadsheet. It might be updated by now, but Mike, have you heard anything on that?
I'm sorry, what are we talking about?
The Black Lives Matter spreadsheet.
Oh, no, I haven't heard it. There's still been nothing new. I think we can assume that stuff that's no longer being maintained, but I will again follow up with the previous maintainer and see if there's anything new. I have not heard anything about activity around the Minneapolis trial.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if there's not some stuff going on in Milwaukee to support the George Floyd actions that are happening in Minneapolis and around the state of Minnesota. But that spreadsheet, I've attended some of the events on that spreadsheet, and I'd be surprised if they're not still going on. So you might still be able to use that spreadsheet to go to different protests in Milwaukee, like the one at Oklahoma and 16th Street, across the street from St. Luke's Hospital. Those folks were very dedicated. We're doing that once a week, and that's probably still happening, I would think. Okay, hire a fundraiser websites. I will share my screen on that. Let's see, stop the share on this one. And screen share. So that's this right here. So I found two websites where they have freelance fundraiser folks that, you know, if somebody wants to, they can check them out and see if they'd be willing to work as a fundraiser for us and get their own salary out of that fundraising that they do, kind of thing. I do not have time to do that myself, but I was very curious about it, so I did find these two websites. Anybody have any questions about that or comments or want to take that up? Okay. Stop the share on that. Go ahead, Tom.
So comment. There's a widget, like a first-class software object on the Nation Builder website for fundraising. We might be able to leverage that. You know, we set a financial goal. It gives you a little bar chart and so forth. I mean, as I say this out loud, I realize that in some respects that wouldn't work, or it might work. I mean, if they're donating and we can track it, I would think we could funnel the funds back to the local chapter, even though it's the state website.
Oh,
Pass.
interesting.
Barbara
Thanks.
Stack.
Go ahead, Barbara.
I remembered that I was supposed to report that on the state level, our elections committee is mounting a fundraiser right now to raise funds for our local candidates around the state, because they're all local elections. So that was one thing related to this fundraiser idea. I like what Tom is recommending, because we do have a lot of tools on that state platform. But ultimately, I think that this tactic really has to do with in-person kinds of fundraisers and getting to see people in person. So with the election so close, I think that, like, if I were to take this on, it would have to be a little bit further in the future. Pass.
Okay, well, thanks for being willing to consider that, Barbara. And I will save those websites. All right, I'm going to stop the screen share on this and move back to the agenda. All right, and we are up to, well, I meant to ask Patty about operating more like a business too. So for that particular item, for some reason I had written on there reports from community member recruiters. Does anybody know what that is, Patty or anybody? Okay, I guess we can take that off there.
Tom, staff.
Go ahead, Tom.
So I was thinking this is sort of fits into the flow of the fundraising. So I mentioned to Carrie, because she was busy doing other things, that her name came up earlier in the context of setting up that automatic donation facility on our website. So since she's here and we don't know that she'll always be here, we might want to give her some time. But again, I think it's contingent on the employee ID, and I don't know if that's a showstopper for us or not. Pass.
How about, did you have a comment on that, Carrie?
I haven't been able to lock anything down with the individual I was working with since I last brought this up, and I hope to. It's just that this individual is with the Georgia Green Party, and they're very, very busy trying to stay in GPUS at the moment. So hopefully at some point in time I'll be able to do that. And I'll bring it up with them again, because I think this is really important that we get some good information, and he's definitely got it. And he could definitely offer some, considerable contributions to where we want to go here. Pass.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, next item, do we want a separate discussion list that's open to the public? So that was a little change in Tom's proposal. He dropped his proposal and instead just put this discussion item on the agenda. Anybody have a comment about that? Or comments?
Carrie Stack?
Go ahead, Carrie.
I still remain opposed to a discussion list that's open to the public, but I am very interested in establishing some type of a list that serves the party statewide. There's really no way to communicate with members in a way other than at the 2 annual gatherings. It would really be nice to have some sort of a listserv that was statewide, not just local to Milwaukee, local to this. Not that those aren't important, they are, but statewide would really be a great thing. Pass.
Tom said.
Go ahead, Tom. We have 1 minute left.
So that was that proposal was made at the coordinating council, and I don't entirely understand all these parliamentary maneuvers. I think it's basically that that IT's been tasked with working out all the processes associated with that list, and then we're going to come back and disclose what those are before it gets rolled out. Like how people are added, how people are removed, how the list is maintained, what the rules for the lists are behaviorally, the etiquette, and also kind of procedural stuff like snipping and keeping your posts clean, that kind of thing. So, and then with respect to the public list, I'm just thinking in terms of recruiting people that could be heavily moderated. But again, I guess we'd have to design this public mailing list. We'd have to come up with rules for it. So I could kind of keep working on, giving some more detail as to what my vision is for that. Maybe that's what I should do. Just give me that homework and take it off the table, and then I can bring it back up when I have something written out. So it doesn't just keep showing up on the meeting pass.
Well, to give you credit, Tom, you did, this is a new item because you did pull your proposal in favor of just having a discussion about this separate item for our locals. So, thanks. Thank you. It brought up a good discussion. Okay, our next item is Earth Day, gardens, local foods, etc. And Barbara, did you want to lead on that one?
Sure. This is kind of connecting into our political discussion that, I said that COVID is a major political issue. And part of that is that we've really revealed how few people or how many people don't have access to food. So I was researching things like victory gardens, and we have a robust victory garden program still. But back in Roosevelt's time, about 50% of all of our food came from victory gardens and local food initiatives. And I strongly believe that as a city, we could get that up to probably 20% or 30% in the next year and 50% in the next 5 years, and really get back to having access to that food. So I think that really gardening is a key to a healthy future for us. And so I wanted us to keep talking about that. Pass.
Yeah, and that is part of our, we haven't gotten to that point yet, but that is hopefully something that's part of the task force document. And just to indicate how robust the Victory Garden thing is in Milwaukee, I would say they must put in close to, if not more than 200 gardens per year. And they've been doing that for decades. Well, maybe not decades, but at least I would say 15 years probably, where they every year sell garden boxes, for a very reasonable rate. And then they go and put your garden box in your yard for you. And all you have to do is plant it, and they also do that for schools and other organizations. And because they do it here, we were able to do that in Green Bay as well and learn from the Victory Garden people here. Green Bay does 100 every year, approximately right now. So some very robust things going on, but also, we can do more. Like Barbara's saying, there's still some interesting stuff going on with food pantries. So I've been working at a food pantry here, run by the Catholics on the River West, in the River West neighborhood, and bagging up food on Friday mornings, and then they distribute it on Saturday mornings. And really good, amount of food that they have that they're donating. I would really like to talk to some people still about you know, what a need there is in Milwaukee. Are we doing a fairly good job with that? Or are we not doing a good job with it? Because what I'm seeing is, I think we're doing a fairly good job with it compared to some other communities that I see on the national news and stuff like that. But I'm not totally sure. It's just from my little bit of in-person research that I've been doing. The Earth Day thing, last year was Earth Day's 50th anniversary, and it really got completely wiped out by the COVID thing. So I don't know, any suggestions on what we could do with that as far as, you know, taking some leadership on it and maybe just calling attention to it? Well, one of the things I thought we could do if we can't do anything in person is the Greens years back put out this Living Green 101 things you can do. So we could at least put out that document. It's a nice flyer, and was printed originally with soy ink on recycled paper, and it says Wisconsin Greens on it. So that's one thing we could do for Earth Day. Any other suggestions?
Jack,
Go ahead,
Tom's
Patty.
next.
when is Earth Day?
It's right around this, let's see, it's April 20th, 21st, right around the, oh, here, I can look at my calendar. April 22nd. And that's Thursday. Go ahead, whoever
So,
wants to ask Patty.
yeah. Are you done, Patty?
Yep, go ahead.
So, tabling, I mean, we've been doing canvassing, you know, with masks and so forth, but tabling has been at least a way to get signups. What's interesting though, we get people to sign up for our mailing list, but then very rarely do they actually show up at a meeting. But at least we get additional people on our mailing list. So is that something, Barb, you think we could start doing that at some sort of outdoor event? Pass.
There's not a whole lot of events quite yet that I've seen that are not canceled, but I mean, I keep my eyes open. If there's anything that I think that we would like to table at, I'd be happy to help out with that. Pass.
Yeah, I'd be willing to also pass.
Patty's back.
Go ahead, Patty.
Greg, what was the flyer that you showed us?
It's called Living Green, 101 green things you can do.
Thanks.
Thank you, Patty, for getting that all in the minutes. Okay, I think we can move on then. Constitutional Convention. Who's leading on that?
I can say a few words. Last Wednesday, I went to Madison, and they were having a public hearing about a possible constitutional convention that our state government would like to sign on to with about 30 other states. Their purpose to start this constitutional convention would be mostly to instate term limits for federal government people. They thought that they could do that for both the judicial and the legislative branch at least. The second priority, or maybe that was the first priority, was to force the United States government to have a balanced budget, which kind of, you know, it within itself is then a problem because they just don't understand our monetary system then. What they don't really understand by doing a convention like that is that it can open up a whole bunch of other cans of worms. So this idea was promoted by some Republican factions in our state legislative branch, but other Republican factions were actually against it because they thought, well, what if they decide to legalize marijuana in this constitutional convention? And I agree with that sort of sentiment, that it does open up a can of worms that we have no idea what could come out of it. So I thought it was worth reporting and see what people think about it. Pass.
Any discussion? Okay, thanks, Barbara, for bringing that to our attention. And we can move on to unsafe homeless shelters. Barb wanted to just discuss that. Barb.
Yeah, about a month or so ago, I was at the Red Arrow ice skating, and there was a woman, as I was leaving, there was a woman going to the corner with a sign, and I looked at the sign, and the sign said, the Milwaukee Police Department is not investigating sexual assault at homeless shelters. And so she was just trying to draw attention to it. She said she's tried to get them to move on it, and she's had some very disrespectful responses with some police officers laughing, and it just is horrible. So I'm trying to figure out what can be done to get them to move on it. I talked to one person who suggested contacting the community liaison, and I haven't been able to do that yet, but I guess each district has one of those. So probably the place to start would be contacting the one in the district where it happened. And she said that the worst shelter is Salvation Army. It sounds like they just don't have good security there. So.
Patty Stack.
Good, Patty.
Wouldn't this be, wouldn't the place to start would be actually by approaching the shelters, whoever managing the shelters? Seems to me that would be the starting point, is putting pressure on them to improve the security at their shelters. Pass.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, maybe the mayor's office or the chief of police's office, because if police officers are laughing, then obviously that's disrespectful, and chief of police might want to be aware of that. Also, the mayor would probably want to be aware of any safety issues in the city. Pass.
Mike Stack.
Go ahead, Mike.
Let's add the Fire and Police Commission to that list, because yes, if there's police misconduct, they've been getting an awful lot of pressure lately at the Fire and Police Commission, and perhaps they deserve a little bit more.
Thanks, Mike. And we are at time on this issue. Can we move on? Thanks for bringing that up.
Thanks, everyone, for your input.
So HR 1 is our next item for discussion. We did have that up in the top of our agenda for people that haven't been here. There's a short statement, or started late with us. This is a short statement here on Green Party News. What Tony Najede, the Green Party National Co-Chairman, is saying about HR 1, and also just a reminder that we sent out on the list a Howie Hawkins, Angela Walker email, which was in the subject line saying, "We're also for the people, but without the poison pill." So you can look for that email for some information about that. Any other discussion about HR 1?
I'll be on this side.
Go ahead, Barbara.
We have gotten a lot of press about HR 1, a lot of it negative, but in this day and age, I'm not quite sure that there is any such thing as bad press. Any press is kind of good press. And it's really important that we kind of know the ins and outs of HR1 and let people know that this isn't the, you know, the great bill that everybody says it is for public financing of elections. It really does stand to crush third parties by making the requirements for us a lot higher to get into elections, especially get money in elections, while making more privately funded elections a lot easier. That private organizations can fund elections much more than they could before, which is already a lot. So this is a great topic, and it should be on the top of our minds. Pass.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Barbara.
Jack.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just to echo Barbara on this question, the thing is that you have to understand is that the whole public financing system, this matching funds operation, has basically fallen into disuse since Barack Obama won the Democratic nomination in 2008 without taking public money. So now Democrats don't take public money. Republicans have always been able to go to their corporate masters and raise money, so they don't need public money. The only two parties that actually access that traditionally make the threshold are the Greens and the Libertarians. And the Libertarians don't take public money because they think it's welfare. So this really is a very targeted attack on Greens getting onto ballots across the country. It's egregious, and it had, you know, there. Tom said earlier that there were a lot of good things in the bill, and absolutely there are, but there's but this is, you know, this needs to get out of there, although we obviously know it won't. But people need to know about this stuff. It's really egregious.
Barb Stack,
Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Barb.
are there any Congress people that are suggesting some amendments that would make it better?
Tom Stack.
Go ahead, Tom.
Might.
You have 1 minute.
Yeah, Harvey Wasserman, Solartopia, PRN. Check it out. They go into great depth on this, and Howie Hawkins participates in the Zoom calls. It's once a week, and there's not much hope that they're going to remove that. I think it's Sarbanes that got that poison pill in there, but there's these major league hitters, election reform people in there, very knowledgeable, a lot of really knowledgeable people. So yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, it's both wonderful and terrible at the same time. But yeah, ask me if you want to learn more about it. I've got some really good links for you. Pass.
Thanks, folks. And we need to move on. So anybody have anything they want on next month's agenda?
Thing.
Go ahead, Tom.
Training session for the public calendar and the membership calendar. I can do it one-to-one. I'm thinking in particular of you, Greg, because you have these calendar entries for the agenda. They should just go right on to our Google Calendar. So I'm just proposing that between now and next month, I'll try to set up a video meeting to go over the Google Calendars. Pass.
Okay.
Barb Stack.
And I have Barb, and who is the other person?
Barbara.
Then I need to be on
Okay.
Greg.
Okay, so I have Barb first, then Barbara, then Patty. Go ahead, Barb.
You're probably thinking the same thing, Barbara, but I think we should have at least a short discussion about the questions on the Conservation Congress questionnaire, because voting will be going on at that point. Pass.
Thanks. Barbara?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, that we're definitely going to want to talk about the Conservation Congress things going on at length, including anything that we have sponsored as advisory questions, not just the questions that people will be able to fill out the following Monday. But also we might want to kind of do a post-election sort of discussion as well, considering we'll probably know the results of the April election and see how that went.
Thanks, Barbara. And Patty?
Just a question for Tom. The training session you meant is not, that's not intended for next month's agenda, correct?
Oh, probably. Well, maybe we could review it quickly, but I'm hoping to get a meeting set up between now and next month. So I'll send out an email. It's more of a heads up, I guess.
Thanks.
There's somebody else who want to be on the stack? Okay. So we're getting close to the end of our meeting here. We do have National Committee Affairs report, and Tom, I think it's your turn this month.
Okay. I don't think I have too much new to report. I believe there is a vote coming up this Sunday night, and there was a procedural vote that I spent hours and hours and hours studying, that I voted on. Yeah, I don't. This particular one, it has to do with foreign policy issue, and yeah, I think the last time what I did was I spent a better part of a Sunday studying it. So, well, and I'm also aware that there's some issues concerning the Lavender Caucus in Georgia. I don't see a particular item on the table about that right now. I'm trying to keep track so I don't get blindsided by a vote that's coming up, but I think I'm just barely keeping my hand in on the list. So that's my report. Yeah, Mike, jump in.
Mike, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, that was good. We should just focus on the stuff on these reports should focus on actions taken mostly to let people know what the party's doing nationally. And we occasionally, the National Committee gets sidetracked into internal discussions and general weirdness. And while Tom and I may have disagreed on the procedural matter a couple of weeks ago, y'all don't need to hear about it.
Okay.
No, we didn't disagree. We ran into a meta level procedural issue. If I don't know if that's clear or not, but we found out that abstaining is considered a vote. So the alternate, and if an alternate votes, then the vote is used. So if that makes any sense, pass.
Well,
Yeah. And like Mike was saying, for those particular things, we need to learn that if we're going to be a representative to the National Committee and representing Wisconsin. So who is on the stack? Who wanted to be on the stack?
I did.
Go ahead, Barbara.
I also get a lot from the National Committee listserv, and while I don't look at everything, I saw that the Eco Action Committee put out a nice report, and they've been starting to do video discussions. So if people are interested in that, I can post that to the list. And the what's it called? The BMRC, the Budget and Monetary Reform Committee, just put out a report themselves as well. Pass.
Can I just suggest that you do put out the eco action thing a couple of times between now and Earth Day? It might be another way that we can celebrate Earth Day and be encouraging that.
Sure.
Thanks, Barbara. And we are at time in this item. Unless anybody objects, we can move on. Okay. So call to accomplishments and recognition. So I wanted to recognize all committee chairs and members for their work this month, including elections, outreach, membership, and IT. Also, Alex and Alex Brower's campaign for their primary success, and Barbara, Tom, Bill, Mike, and Barb for their work and support of that campaign. And Tom, Bill, and Patty for state spring gathering work. Is there anybody else that worked on the spring gathering that I didn't get in there? Okay. And then anybody have anything else that you want to acknowledge?
Sorry, Barbara D is working on the spring gathering as well.
Barbara D?
Yes, thanks, Barbara.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. All right, and call to action right at 12:30.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to toss out, please, that if it would be really great if everybody could sort of calculate what you normally would have dropped in the magic hat and over the course of the last year, and send that to Barbara, because we are needing that even though it's probably a small amount. If everybody could do that, that would be really helpful.
Thanks for that reminder, Patty. Okay, so call to action, and we say this together, Pearl. And I can lead on that. So I will say my part, and then you guys can repeat it. We believe in alternative independent politics.
We believe in
alternative independent politics.
And active responsible government.
And
active
responsible government.
We believe in empowering of all citizens.
We believe in the empowering of all citizens
and communities to create the world we want.
And
communities to create the world we want.
We offer hope and a call to action.
We offer hope and a call to action.
Green and growing.
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 All right, thanks. All right, our next meeting is listed there. And
that's not correct.
Oh, it's certainly not. Okay.
Should be 4:10.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara.
Yep.
And I put in the chat when the Victory Garden is going to be installing and doing their blitz, installing gardens. That would be a good way for people to celebrate Earth Day.
That would be. It's a fun way to do it. I worked for them one year. It was really fun.
I did too, way at the beginning. They've grown
too.
by leaps and bounds. Whole different, all different people now too, which is great.
Yep. Yeah. So also let's see here. It's time to end our recording and live stream, but Tom, I need to grab some things from the chat. Is that going to stop me from grabbing things from the chat?
The chat also generally gets saved, I mean, eventually into the YouTube when I get to it.
Okay, if I want to grab some stuff from there now, can I do that even though we're ending the recording?
You can save the entire, yes, you can save the entire chat to the ellipsis down to the right allows you to save your personal copy of that chat.
Okay. Where it says more.
I think so, yeah. My tenant is texting me, so I'm
Oh,
responding.
okay.
You know, if you look down to where you enter messages in chat, Greg, where it says everyone type your message here. To the right of that is a space that says file, and then there's a little box with an ellipse in it.
Where is that again, Carrie?
Where you, if you're typing something in the chat, where it says to
Okay.
everyone type your message here. Next to
Okay.
that is file, and then there's the little ellipse.
Okay.
If you click on that ellipse, you get a menu that opens up that says save chat.
Okay.
You just click on save chat, and then I click, for me, it's show in Finder, because that so I know where it is. I don't know how that comes up for you on a PC. It might come up differently, but that's how you save the chat.
Yeah, it says show in folder.
No, I think you're in Google Docs now. You
Well,
need
it
to be
says,
in
it says
Zoom.
chat saved, and then it says show in folder. Should I click on show in folder to see where it is?
Oh, maybe.
Greg, if you click on the little file icon, you can select where you want it saved.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Patty.
Sorry. I think I was wrong there.
That's not an option for me. That little file box has nothing to do with the chat for me.
Oh, maybe you're not on a PC, so maybe.
No, I'm on a Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's having me save it in Google Drive.
Can't you just save it to your desktop and put it where you want it later?
I don't know. It gives me weird options here. Let's see.
Are you on a PC, Greg?
Yeah, and it says my options are Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive. So would that be in my?
No.
Who has my computer? If you
Your computer. Yeah, I have your computer. Yeah.
click on my computer, then all of your files, where you save your files, open up, and you can decide where you want to put it, which file, or your
okay.
desktop or whatever.
Okay.
But again, that file is a source file. It's not a file where you're saving the chat. He has to save the chat by under the ellipse menu. I don't see how there's any option to save chat in the file box. That's to access files on your computer, not to save the chat to your computer, as far as I can see.
Folder. Oh yeah, that's where it brings up my documents, Carrie. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, you have to click on the ellipse, not the file box.
Yep, I got it. It saved it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We worked it out little by little. We got there.
Go team.
Right. Let's see. Anything else we need?
No, Greg, I'll send you the minutes now. I think that I've done everything I can with them. So I'll send them now, and also put them in the Google Drive, and you can take a look and see if I've left out anything.
Okay, thanks, Patty. Have a good day, everyone, and thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot for facilitating, Greg.
Sure. Bye.
Sorry again for being late.
That's all right.
No worries.